Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, and this time reviewing on The Iron Giant. Now, as you know, The Iron Giant is a 1999 film that was meant to be based on the 1968 novel The Iron Man by Ted Hughes. And Brad Bird personally wanted to direct this movie as a response, a tribute, and out of respect for his sister, who was shot and killed by her husband by gun violence. And his pitch was always meant to be this: what if a gun was able to think for itself, and what if it didn't want to be the gun anymore? And it's like saying, what if a clone didn't want to be a copy of someone, or saying, what if someone was able to make the right choice and save someone? So pretty much the premise of the movie is meant to take place during the Cold War, during 1957, where Hogarth Hughes ends up locating or finding a kind of 50-foot metal-eating giant robot known as the Iron Giant. So pretty much the Iron Giant is kind of like almost like a little kid, because he kind of like starts questioning where he's meant to be and has an unknown origin or an unknown purpose. And pretty much throughout the movie, we do see the Iron Giant learning so many life lessons, like it's okay to die, and also that guns kill. So pretty much throughout the movie, we do have Hogarth Hughes eventually becoming friends with a beatnik artist known as Dean. Now, Dean, I would say, is kind of a relatable character. He's kind of this talented artist. He has basically a kind of junkyard where he makes his artwork. Now, keep in mind that back in 1957, the Beat Generation were mostly viewed as mildly threatening to a small town values. So I think it's kind of interesting that we see both of them as outcasts, because Hogarth is kind of the outcast at school, and Dean is kind of the outcast because of his beatnikness. So pretty much as soon as a kind of fisherman pretty much sends a report to Kent Mansley. Now, Kent Mansley is this paranoid government agent who sees the giant as a threat and kind of views him as a danger to the world. And you can tell that he believes what he's doing is right, but doesn't see any guilt in his actions. And I feel that, yeah, Hogarth's mother, Annie, is kind of caught into this, and you can tell that she doesn't really... You can tell that, she's a single mother, she's meant to be a widow of a military pirate, and you can tell that she does her best to kind of support Hogarth, and at the same time try and help. And what's actually interesting is that Ollie Johnston and Frank Thomas, who voiced the train engineers, were part of Disney's old members, the 9 Old Men, who were credited by Bird as inspiration for his career. And I would say it's interesting to see them in their animation form and kind of voicing themselves as train conductors, given the fact they had trains in their backyard. I would say that I do agree with one certain YouTuber, Uncharted Media, that The Iron Giant is actually a Superman movie. Because keep in mind, Hogarth is meant to be something like Jonathan Kent, helping the giant learn about where he's from, at the same time helping him find his place. The giant is obviously meant to be like Superman, and is meant to kind of find his purpose, and at the same time learn to be a hero, and sees Superman as his inspiration by looking at an old 50s Superman comic, issue 188. And it's kind of like when you're a fan of something, like you wanted to be a Power Ranger, you wanted to be a Transformer, you wanted to be a web slinger. It's like that inspiration that works. And yeah, Kent Mansley is like like Lex Luthor, as he's basically determined to destroy the Giant, much like how Lex Luthor is determined to destroy Superman, and much like Lex, makes costly mistakes. Now, at the same time, the film does have some powerful moments, like near the end when the Giant sacrifices himself to save the town, or when you look at, say, the deer scene, where you can tell the Giant feels bad about the deer, and Hogarth tries to reassure him that things die, it's a part of life. It's like when you're a kid learning about death, and your parents say that all things die eventually. And that's really a heartfelt thing. And I think definitely Brad Bird does a decent job. And I think there were moments that the film could have had some different moments. For example, like Hogarth having a black or Asian friend to kind of recount racism, and kind of having the friend to kind of help Giant see that, just because you're metal doesn't make you different. And it could have been an interesting idea. And I kind of feel we could have had more time to build up Hogarth and the Giant. They do it, but it comes off as a bit rushed. And I feel with General Rogarth is that, yeah, he's meant to be a version of General Lane, but you can tell that he strongly dislikes Mansley and kind of starts to see who the Giant is. So I definitely think The Iron Giant was definitely a heartfelt movie. It's a good idea, it has a premise, and much like Superman, is about leading a better life. So I think it deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.